AMD announces new socket AM4 desktop processors, 5700 by 3D and 5000 GT APUs. AMD socket AM4 continues to be relevant even in 2024, nearly 7 years since its introduction, with the company announcing several new processor models at CES. AMD has extended Ryzen 5000 series Zen 3" support across all three desktop chipset series, including the oldest AMD 300 series, and since all socket AM4 motherboards feature USB BIOS flashback, users have the full spread of socket AM4 processors to upgrade to. The Ryzen 7 5800 by 3D continues to be a popular final upgrade destination for gamers on socket AM4 who may have spent a pretty penny building a high-end gaming desktop in 2020-21. The 5800 by 3D offers gaming performance comparable to an Intel Core i9-12900K Alder Lake, despite being based on the older Zen 3" microarchitecture, since it enjoys a large 96MB L3 cache, thanks to AMD's innovative 3D vertical cache technology. The 5800 by 3D commands a $360 street price, which may be a little steep for some users, and so AMD is increasing choice, with the introduction of the new Ryzen 7 5700 by 3D. The Ryzen 7 5700 by 3D is an 8-core/16-thread socket AM4 processor, which is practically the same silicon as the 5800 by 3D, but with lower clock speeds, and more importantly a 30% lower price. While the 5800 by 3D commands $360 in the market, the new 5700 by 3D is coming in at an attractive $250. The 5700 by 3D comes with a base frequency of 3.00 GHz, and maximum boost frequency of 4.10 GHz. In comparison, the 5800 by 3D has a 3.40 GHz base frequency, and 4.50 GHz boost. Both chips enjoy the same power limits, with a TDP of 105 W. The 5700 by 3D gets the same 96MB of L3 cache that includes 64MB of 3D vertical cache, and 512 KB of L2 cache per core. The I/O is identical, too, with a 24-lane PCI Express Gen 4 interface, and dual-channel DDR4 memory, with DDR4 3600 being the sweet spot frequency. AMD also introduced the Ryzen 7 5700. Much like the 5700X, 5700G, 5700 by 3D, 5800X, and 5800 by 3D, this is an 8-core/16-thread Zen 3" based processor. It lacks integrated graphics, and so it is not an APU like the 5700G. However, it is based on the same 7nm Cezanne monolithic silicon as the 5700G. Consider the 5700 to be the 5700G with its APU disabled. You get an 8-core/16-thread CPU based on Zen 3, with 512 KB of L2 cache per core, and 16MB L3 cache shared among all 8 cores. The clock speeds of the 5700 are nearly identical to the 5700G. The base frequency is set at 3.70 GHz, in comparison to the 3.80 GHz of the 5700G, while the boost frequency is identical between the two, at 4.60 GHz. AMD is launching the Ryzen 7 5700 at a $175 price that's nearly half the launch price of the 5700G when it came out in 2021. Winding things up, AMD introduced a pair of interesting new APUs that should really draw some crowds to socket AM4 at the entry level. The Ryzen 5 5600 GT is a slightly faster version of the 5600G. It packs a 6-core/12-thread CPU clocked at 3.60 GHz base frequency, which may be lower than the 3.90 GHz of the 5600G, but with a higher maximum boost frequency of 4.60 GHz, compared to 4.40 GHz of the 5600G. The best part? You also get the Radeon Vega APU with 7 CU, 448 stream processors. The 5600 GT features 512 KB of L2 cache per core, and the full 16 MB L3 cache available on the Cezanne silicon. AMD is pricing the 5600 GT at a very attractive $140. The Ryzen 5 5500 GT is a slightly lower clocked version of the 5600 GT at an even lower $125. All 4 new socket AM4 processors announced today should be available in the retail market from January 31st.